Hello. Technical difficulties. My apologies here. Let's see if I can get this up and running this time here. Supposed to be doing Bricks and Beyond here. I don't know if we're having. There we go. Hello. Thanks for joining. Had a technical difficulty, so hang tight here. Hello. Alex, how are you? Okay, there we go. Now I got people. I don't know what happened there, so I apologize for that delay there. So welcome everybody. Today is Sunday, January 19th, 2025. We're back for another episode of Bricks and Beyond, a creator showcase series. For those of you who have not joined any of this prior series episodes, just want to remind you that this series highlights members of the Lego community, basically giving you a personalized look at the person behind the account. Tonight's guest is joining from the state of Connecticut. He is a father, a Lego fan, and the founder of an app that we're going to talk about here shortly. You may know him as Get Bricked app here on Instagram, but I'm going to Greg. So hang tight here. Let me get him on here. Hopefully. There he is. Greg, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Good. Hey, sorry, I don't know if something happened when I tried my first time there, and nobody was coming on. I didn't know what was happening there, so I scratched it and started over, and now we're good. So
Yeah, I didn't get a notification or anything, so I thought something was up from
it's
that perspective. But yeah,
well,
here we are.
I was hoping we weren't having an Instagram TikTok moment. So
Yeah. It would be par for the course, though. So
yeah. Today's been an interesting day for sure. From the first notification this morning, how everything went
hmm
down. And are you a CapCut user at all?
yeah, I didn't even know that that was something that was part of it. To be honest with you,
I,
and I was very surprised. So
yeah,
that was
yeah.
surprising for me.
The only reason I knew it had something to do with it was because when I first started with trying CapCut, it asked me to link to a TikTok so that I could send the videos there, so I didn't have the watermarks.
Yeah,
I never thought that it would basically shut down CapCut, but now like TikTok's working, so I don't understand why CapCut's not. That's what I
yeah.
was confused about. But
Last night I was editing a video and I was trying to add audio, and every audio that I got from them was coming back as an error or something like that. I was like, "What's going
uh,
on? This is kind of weird."
it's
And all
yeah,
their services were shut down. So essentially, that's what happened from that
and that's
end.
that.
So
Yeah, that's all she wrote.
yeah,
So well, you know what? Now we all have to get creative again in content making.
exactly,
I said,
exactly,
how can we make reels and such in that fashion, but just ourselves, not adding anything fancy. That's what we're gonna have to
exactly,
do. So
exactly.
so you are from the state of Connecticut. I have
Yep.
never been there. So what's the weather like for you? That's I always love to ask.
It's actually very snowy here in Connecticut. We're expected to get about 5, 6 inches of snow. It started about an hour ago.
Okay.
So, and then in a couple days it's going to be freezing cold. I
Yes.
think in the low teens, maybe even like below zero. Who knows? But it's winter, so it's New England weather. You never really know what to expect when it
Yeah.
comes to these things from that end. So.
Yeah. Now I know you gave me a little sneak peek there, but supposedly you have a snow blower that you haven't touched yet.
Yeah, so I moved to a house here in Connecticut, and I always grew up, shoveling snow,
Okay.
with my parents' house and everything else. And I was like, all right, I got my own house now. I'm gonna buy a
Yep.
snowblower. It's gonna be awesome from that end. And I haven't really used it in the last 5 years. I mean, we've got a couple snowstorms here and there, but nothing too drastic.
Sure.
So I'm ready. I mean, it's
Yeah.
ready and oiled up and gassed up, ready to go. I just need to be able to have some snow to plow in. I look forward to those moments there, but
Now.
who knows what's gonna happen tomorrow morning, how much snow we'll get.
Now, I've been in your position, so just word of advice: make sure you test it and start it up
Yeah, I
because
did
I've
it this
had
morning.
I've
Yeah.
had okay, good because I've had that where I've been all pumped to use it and I go to start it and it doesn't start. So
Yep. Exactly. It takes a little time to grease that wheel to get going. So
yeah, yep,
I totally
exactly,
get it.
exactly. So how was your weekend? Obviously, we're Sunday night here. Did you do anything exciting this weekend?
Oh, dude, exciting. It's still pretty cold in this part here, so me and my family and I just kind of hung out locally, didn't do too much. I just finished the Tudor Corner yesterday, so I was
Oh, yep.
building that in the evening, so that was pretty nice to be able to do. But nothing too special, just kind of local around here from that
Hey,
end.
I mean, Lego's pretty special, so
Yeah.
doing that that's good. That's good enough,
Yep.
right? So. So any plans for the upcoming week? Anything? I know you have a lot going, which we'll get into the app
Yeah.
stuff later, but anything non-app, non-Ego, non-Lego related going on?
Nothing too much on my end. I'm a pretty much meat and potatoes kind of guy. So
Yeah.
what the week brings me, and that's what I'll do. So
Sometimes that's the best way to do it because if you plan too much, you're just let down when everything goes the opposite way.
exactly, especially if you have two young kids. So yeah, you never know what to expect from that end. So
That's yeah. Now, how? Because I'm learning when I meet people from different areas
yep,
that the school systems can be very different.
yep.
So, as far as your school system, are they pretty lenient on like how they handle the snow and cold, or are they pretty much just like you're going regardless?
You know, it's pretty lenient to be honest. When
Okay.
I growing up, it had to be snowing a blizzard, and
Yeah.
you'd
Yeah.
have to seek through the snow to get to school. Now, like if there's a little bit of ice, a little bit of not even a lot of snow, it seems to either do a half day or a delayed opening.
Okay.
So I don't think my kids are getting what my experience was like when I was young, where it's like it had to be 12 feet of snow to
Yeah.
get it canceled. So who
Yep.
knows from that end? But
Yeah.
tomorrow's the holiday, so
Oh,
we
that's
cancel anyways from
right.
that
Yep.
perspective. So.
That's right.
I won't if it's canceled on Tuesday, I'll be very shocked from that perspective because it hasn't been snowing from that end. So
Sure.
yeah,
Yep.
that works for
Uh,
me.
Now, it's funny you mentioned that about how we grew up in the with your parents and they tell you stuff about their
Yeah.
stories. Did you get the shoebox stories where they
Oh
had to wear
yes.
shoebox?
Yeah, I had to go to school both ways,
Yeah,
with snowshoes and stuff like that. So yeah, it was
no shoes.
yeah, it was quite the journey. I mean, like I said, when I was younger, that's how school was from that
Yeah,
level. It had to be very heavy snow
yeah,
for any cancellation. But I think more recently it's been a little lenient. And to be honest, it's probably justified. Like ice
sure.
is very dangerous, especially with buses
Yeah,
and stuff like that. But
yeah,
yeah, to each their own.
yeah. Hey,
So it is what it
I
is.
know. We've had a couple of those where we're looking outside and it's like, why did they have a delay or why were
Yeah,
they off?
exactly.
And then the days where you think they should be off, it's like, why are we going to school? It just
Exactly.
doesn't make sense. So,
Yep.
all right. So obviously, you have a lot going on with the app here, but I obviously I want people to get to know about that, but I think more importantly, I'd like people to get to know who you
Mhm.
are, and then that way, they can appreciate what you've done more than because there's not that there's anything like what you have,
Right.
but in this technology world, you can go on an app store, you can pretty much get whatever you want, and
Right.
so it's kind of like a store. Like if you have a personalized connection to somebody at a store, you always go there no matter what
Yeah.
it costs or how you have to get there. So I think it's important for people to see, who you are. And then when they see that app, they're like, I know that guy and I want to support that guy. So
I 100% buy into that methodology. I call it the Etsy effect, actually. It's like
sure,
literally, the makers behind the products that you have.
exactly.
You want to put a face in front of it. So, my history, how I got started is that I've actually created an app before. The
Okay.
app before was called Untapped. It was a beer-centric application across
Oh,
the board.
nice.
Essentially, you check into your beer, you share it with friends, give recommendations. I founded it back in 2010,
Okay.
did it for about 10 years. So, very similar concept to what Bricked is all about, to be honest with you, and even
Sure.
spelled very different, really
Okay.
interested the same with no e at the end and a
Yeah. Yeah.
vowel and all that stuff. Maybe it's the thing I have, or I'm not really sure. But I've always been into technology. I grew up software engineering is what my day job is from that perspective. So I
Oh,
really
nice.
wanted
Okay.
to. I like to apply technology to my passions, and
Sure.
Lego has been a staple of my life since I was very younger. I think I fell
Okay.
out of it a lot when I got a little older, and then got back into it about a year and a half ago
Okay.
with everybody else for the pandemic and stuff
Yeah.
like that from that end. So,
Yep.
um, and really, I don't remember when I was younger so many different variations of sets out there with adult theme sets. I don't think that was a thing when I was younger,
Yeah.
but now much more prominent as going forward. But I've always been in technology. I always wanted to solve technical problems
Yeah.
and with my passions, and Brick just came out of that from my experience with the previous app that I
Good.
built.
Okay. So I do have a bunch of
Yeah.
questions and things to highlight with the app. So before we do that, though, a couple things about you, so people know the person here. So again, for those that missed it, Greg's from Connecticut, and now, did you grow up in Connecticut or did you move to Connecticut?
I grew up in Massachusetts, so I've been
Okay.
living in New England for my whole life, but I've lived in
Okay.
Connecticut for the last five
Okay.
years.
And what would you say the differences are? Did you enjoy Massachusetts better? Obviously, you're in Connecticut, so I'm assuming you enjoy that better. Or are they pretty similar?
Connecticut is like a sandwich state. It's between
Okay.
Massachusetts and New York, and no
Yep.
one really we have no professional sports teams except for UConn here. So like
Okay.
it's
Yeah. True.
literally just kind of a sandwich state between the two. So there's not a whole lot of difference. The Midlands
Yeah.
always jump together. It's like all those states up there is like one big
Yeah.
country,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word. So not a huge difference there between Mass and Connecticut. Probably besides some local laws here and there,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
other
Yep.
than that, is pretty much similar from that end.
Okay. Now, growing up, or well, not growing up, just in general, do you have any siblings?
I do have a sister.
Okay.
She was younger than
Okay.
me, and that's my only sibling from that end.
Okay. Now, is your family close to you, or do you guys get to see each other often?
Yeah, so my family lives in my parents live up in Maine now. They moved from Massachusetts to Maine
Okay.
and moved there about a couple of years ago and retired there.
Oh, nice.
My sister is still in Massachusetts and I'm in Connecticut, so we're kind of in this like parallel track up the
Yeah.
Northeast
Sure.
corridor from that end. So
Yeah.
yeah, we are all still in the Northeast
Well,
area.
that's good. That's a part of the U.S. I have not been to yet, but I've heard a lot of great things, especially fall time. That
Yes.
seems to be like I'm Western PA, and like we get some of that same type of foliage and stuff that I believe you guys get.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's just like that whole like northeastern side is just similar in ways.
It's called Interstate 95, which basically
Hmm.
runs from all the way up from from the coast. And then if
Yeah.
you run
Yep.
through New Hampshire and Vermont over
Okay.
the fall time period, August, October, or it seems to be earlier every year this time of year, but it is fire. I mean,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable how much leaves can change to make it a really cool experience for them.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I'm a big red. I don't know why I like red leaves, and it feels like there's
Yes.
years where you don't see any, but
Yep.
when you do, I mean, it's gorgeous to look at. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
um, so now I'm gonna keep Lego out of this for the moment
Sure.
because we'll get into that next. But as a kid, do you remember like some things that you enjoy doing either by yourself or maybe you and your sister or your family in general?
Yeah, so as a kid, I always really big into technology, even when I was younger from that end. I remember um, some of the things I love Back to the Future with
Oh,
one of
nice.
my favorite movies
Yep.
growing up. I used to collect all of the kind of like paraphernalia around that. I had the
Okay.
kind of
Oh,
jacket, as you recall from the
nice.
movie, the puffer
Yeah.
jacket that I
Yeah.
used to wear all the time.
Yep.
I used to create my own like time machines out of that there were scenes in the movie that make the wooden
Sure.
blocks where the cars are coming. I
Yep.
used to make those out of there. So very big on technology, sci-fi, and all
Okay.
those things together was my jam. Obviously, Lego was a big part of my childhood
Sure.
from that perspective, but for me, it was always about technology. I used to take apart my dad's computer to learn more about what's inside of
Oh,
it,
wow. Okay.
and then putting it back with a little bit of a challenge every once in a while.
Yeah,
So he'd
yeah.
give me the older computers, and I'd play around with it. I used to take apart his the old the calculators that had the print tape on it. You'd be able to
Oh
count
gosh.
all
I
those
love
things. I
those.
took
Yeah.
took it up, put it back together, learn how it was. So
Okay.
that kind of shaped who I am, or at least what I like to do
Okay.
from the tech side, from the early ages of mechanical engineering
Sure.
to where it is today.
Now,
But it's crazy to reminisce about that too. Like some of the stuff we did when we were kids are like ridiculous now. You can talk into
yeah,
a phone. We're talking to each other over
I know.
video chat. It's unreal how that stuff accelerates the time.
Yep. Now, did you say so? Where would you say you got your passion for technology from? Was it from your a family member or just
Yeah,
kind of learned
from my
from
dad,
your dad?
he
Okay.
was in computer sales.
Oh,
So
okay.
he was in not actual hardware computers, but
Sure.
software at the
Sure.
time. So I learned a lot about that from him, and then just kind of spiraled. Like I remember making web pages and stuff like that when I was younger, and like
Okay.
the fact that you can actually make like something really cool and broadcast it to the world.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can do that pretty like with the click of a
Yeah.
finger, but back then it was a little more complicated from that end. So that kind of idea kind of shaped who I
Sure.
was and what I was interested in from a very early age.
It's interesting because, as with a lot of things in life, be it from how something's made or whatnot, as an end user, sometimes you forget and you don't appreciate the products that you have.
Yeah.
So, like, even as simple as a website or an app, like it's just like, that's an app. That's yeah, that's easy. But I'm sure you're going to tell us it's not an easy,
It
not an
takes
easy thing.
time.
Yeah,
It takes time, but I think it gets lost in translation a lot, how much
yeah,
work gets into these apps across the
sure,
board, because there's so many of them out there.
yeah,
And it's just incredible how much they've grown over the last 10 years.
yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, everything's pretty much at your fingertips now, no matter what you use, and
Yeah,
that's what I think everybody's going to love about what the app that you offers. Literally, everything's right there, all in a nice compact
yeah,
place. So,
yeah,
yeah, I'm really excited. I didn't want to learn too much about it because I'm like a more hands-on
yeah.
person. I like to hear like straight from the source. So. I did read everything, but I'm looking forward to hearing you explain some stuff here in a little bit.
Yeah,
Um, all right, so uh, you mentioned you have two
yep.
boys, and I think you said they're 8 and 4, correct?
That's right. Yep.
Okay, so again, we're going to keep the Lego out of it right now. What do you guys like to do as a family?
My kids are really big into
Okay,
sports. It's pretty much anything that's on television at the time, any season, that's what we're
sure.
playing. So
Oh, nice.
right now it's a little bit of a football that we're playing in the basement, running
Okay,
the pigskin around. My son, I'm a big tennis player. I grew up playing
okay,
tennis a lot, so he plays tennis too. So we're kind of a big sports kind of family.
sure.
That's what we like to do together. And kids obviously have a lot of energy, way more than I do from that perspective. So if we can kind of drain them down for
Yeah.
nighttime, that's what we're trying to accomplish there.
I'm surprised you have time for Lego and apps with sports because I
Everything
mean
happens
it's
at
just
night.
yeah. I know that's I'm up early hours too, and everybody's like,
Yeah.
"Why are you up so?" Well, because that's the only time you have. So I mean, you can
Right, right.
speak on that. It's a lot to keep the kids entertained and the schedule, so it's nice to find time, to do the stuff you enjoy. So.
Absolutely.
All right, so now we'll pull in some Lego chat here,
Sure.
because obviously, with the app that you're providing us, you must enjoy Lego to some capacity.
If I
So,
didn't, that'd be pretty much a shameful experience. But yes, that's very true.
so going back to when you were a kid, um, did you have? I know, obviously, as we said, things have changed over the years. There's a
Yeah.
whole heck of a lot more sets, but do you remember any particular sets you might have had as a kid?
Yeah, so I remember I don't remember the aqua theme is I think is what it was back in the old days. The old like yellow and blue kind of dome
Oh yeah,
underwater.
yep, okay,
I don't remember the actual theme name, but that was like a set I had. It was a base plate set. Back
okay.
in those days, they actually gave you the base plate that extended upward,
Oh
and
yeah,
you wouldn't
yeah.
actually build anything.
Yep.
So
Yep.
um, that was probably the most prominent set. But I was really into pirates. I had the pirate
Okay.
ship. I think every kid had the pirate
Yep.
ship for Legos. And so the forgotten themes of
I
Legos, as we
know.
call them today.
Yep.
But yeah, those were like the big ones when I was a kid. They just changed so much
Yeah.
in the many, many years that I've grown
Yep.
up with them. But yeah, that was what I remember vividly back in the day
Sure.
playing with those sets.
Now, I know the term that we use nowadays is a mock.
Yep.
But going back to that age, obviously we didn't have that term. But did you do or did you enjoy free building
Yeah.
at that age, and what did you like to build?
Yeah, I didn't get too many sets as I recall when I was a kid. I remember
Okay.
getting a couple sets here and then I'd build around it. So with
Yeah.
that whole theme that I was talking about with the aqua stuff, I'd build different sections within it. I'd connect the basements together. I
Okay.
think back then it was a lot more about here's a theme that you're working with, and then
Sure.
how can you bring your thoughts and your play into it to make it your own. So
Yep.
building cars, building houses like that, like that was the big thing when I was younger across the board. So I wouldn't say that I'm like a expert mock
Yeah.
builder to the nth degree, but I
Yeah.
learned a
Yeah.
lot about, I think just thinking about things and being able to build it essentially the right way. And that was a lot of
Yeah.
fun when I was a kid.
So since we're on the topic and you have two kids,
Yeah.
I'm just going to toss this out there because I'd love to hear your thoughts on it because
Yeah.
you are in the creative realm. Um, I've had this conversation with a lot of people about. I love Lego. I love the sets that they create.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like we're missing the creativity.
Yeah. Mhm.
There's not a lot of sets anymore that are you have your classic box, the boxes, but there's nothing out there really anymore where kids can just go be themselves and create stuff. And I feel like we're missing that. So, as a father with two boys, I'm assuming you see that as well. Like I want this set or this set, but there's nothing like I want this box of bricks so I can build my whatever. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
that's missing.
I totally agree. I think the 3-in-1 sets are probably the closest we have
Yeah,
to
true.
creativity across the
Yep.
board where people can pick which one they want. I think, as a collector and displayer, like the 3-to-1 sets are kind of like I want it for one
Mhm.
piece of that, and I'm going to display it, and I'm never going to break it apart. For kids, they race around with it. My kids love the F1 series that just came
Oh
out
yeah.
right now, so they'll,
Yep.
they'll they'll buy the cars, they'll crash them, and they'll want to build them
Nice.
again and stuff like that. So
Yep.
that's a great way to look at it. But the 3-in-1 set is the closest. We do have a lot of the loose bricks.
Okay.
I did buy the builder boxes and
Sure.
stuff like
Yep.
that. We build every once in a while here, but I think you're right. Absolutely, it's more set driven nowadays, and less about free
Yep.
play,
Yep.
and it's also driven by the IP or the themes that are coming in. Kids will want to get Star Wars sets, they want to get F1, so they're just going to be gravitating toward those, as
Yeah.
opposed to when I was growing up, there was no Star Wars stuff. There was
Sure.
no like IP related things. You just got a set of a house and you built it, and if you got bored with it, you crash it down
And
and you
yeah.
build something different from that.
Yeah.
So I think that's a change that we see now in the new days is where it's more driven toward IP based sets,
Yeah.
Disney or wherever,
Sure.
and you want to get that set because you want that kind of theme from that end,
Sure.
where before it didn't exist like that.
You know, that's why I love doing these conversations because it sparks these ideas in my mind. And you just sparked an idea in my mind, which I'll probably never get to share with anybody at Lego. But if they somehow hear this, I hope they take it and run with it. How neat would it be if you could put sets together based off of IPs, but just have bulk bricks? So put like a bunch of
Mm,
colors and things that you would typically see in that theme, but don't give any instruction, or maybe give like instructions of like, I don't know, maybe 10 different small builds
yeah.
you could do. Like, I think that would be a really cool idea.
I think it'd be fantastic. They already do this for the builder box right now. They give you
Yeah.
a manual inside with like
Yep.
4 or 5 different things you can
Yep.
build, from castles to whatever. Imagine you want to buy a Star Wars box. You can
That's,
build little Millennium Falcon.
yeah.
You can build something else in there,
Yep.
or you can build a bigger set altogether. That'd be quite interesting to see how that
See,
would unfold. So
I thought, yeah, I mean, hopefully, like I said, maybe Lego will hear it and run with it. I don't want credit either, take it, that's fine. But yeah, I just think it would be cool because that way you give kids, and not only from that aspect too, like a lot of these sets are far and above like what kids could afford on maybe an allowance or something like that. So
right.
if you can put these little IP builder boxes together and maybe say, well, you can build a miniature scale Millennium Falcon or a miniature scale this, like it gives them the opportunity to build things a little bit smaller to their size
Yeah.
and not have to fork out that kind of money. So
Yeah, especially Star
I
Wars
don't know.
sets are pretty
Hey,
expensive.
maybe you can figure something out. Let's put something in the app, and
There we go, right?
not to
Make
add more
you
pressure to that.
customize mocks on themes. I don't know.
Yes.
So
All right. So um, I think you did allude to this. So you did have the proverbial dark ages, as we like to call it. Did
yes.
you had a period? So what would you say your end of stage one and then beginning of stage two was?
It's probably, sometime, in my middle school, high school years from that
Yep.
perspective where it kind of fell off the map. And then again, like I mentioned, it picked back up, I think, almost a year and a half ago. I remember getting a set for my mother-in-law for Christmas. It was the Up
Oh,
House, the Disney
nice.
Up House there,
Yep.
and I remember getting it. And I remember looking. I'm like, oh, this is pretty interesting. Like, I know this movie. My kids have seen it
Sure.
before. Like, that's pretty cool. I did the balloons. It looks pretty awesome.
Yep.
I wasn't like, oh my God, like I can't wait to build it. It was like, oh, the gift that I got, and I'm interested in. I remember sitting on our kitchen table, and I started building stuff together, looking at the manual and pulling. And the next thing I know, it
Yeah.
was all done and it was finished. I'm
Yep.
like, wow, that was a lot of fun. I can't remember how much fun I had with this
Yeah.
before. It's like
Yeah.
game changer. So
Yep.
I think, Lego has changed a lot, as we all know, over the
Sure.
last 15 years. And it's kind of sparked a lot of interest. So from that moment there, from that first build, I was like, oh, what's next? What am I going to build next? So my next set after that was the A-frame cabin. I'm
Oh,
really big from that
nice
perspective.
pick. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've always dreamed of retiring in an A-frame middle of the woods somewhere. So I was like, that's
Eh,
awesome.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Sure.
from this, I was like, there were so many things, parts about that build, from the kind of way that the roof kind of come off, and you had to build two of them at the same time,
Yep.
and there was a couple of neat little tricks they built inside with the frying pans and the
Sure.
kitchen and all compact there. And I thought to myself, I said, I'd love to share these things or at least catalyze them, not
Yeah.
just for anyone else, but for myself. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought to myself, we had done some things. I'd done something similar, I guess, in the past, and kind of Brick was born from that perspective. I want to keep track of what I have, and then more importantly, remember what I liked about a set, so I can look back and relive it
Sure. Yep.
over the years there.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, obviously, I'm assuming you still have both of those sets.
Yes, I've got
Okay.
me
Yep.
somewhere over there. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, with the sets nowadays, do you have any particular themes that you like to gravitate towards?
Yeah. For me, it's architecture, which is
Okay.
kind of a surprising choice to most people sometimes. But I've always been a big believer, big like liker of like buildings
Yeah,
and structures and stuff
sure.
like that, and being able to build real life things.
Yep.
So I have a lot of architecture sets, almost all of them,
Okay.
all the ones that are not like super expensive
Yeah.
that you can never find anymore,
Oh, yeah.
retired, but
Yeah.
most of the skylines and all the major ones that are out there. And I'm really
Okay.
excited about the one that just got released or coming in March. I think it's the fountain in Italy. I
Oh,
forget the name
yeah.
of it that's coming out.
Yep.
But yeah, so really excited about that. But that's my favorite go-to
Okay.
set. The other one I say is modular buildings because it kind of fits very similar
Oh, yeah.
into the kind of architecture
Yep.
thing. But those are dangerous slope. Try to build those while you can, and then buying them off the used market is very, very challenging from that
Yeah.
perspective there.
Yeah. I know where you're coming from. Now, with your first person I have had tell me that they are interested in the architecture line.
Yeah,
I'm sure there are several that are, but it's one of those kind of lines that not really gets much
no,
praise. And
yeah.
they are amazing sets. So, like, when you have you ever built something and then gone and visited that place and kind of looked at the build and then how the real thing is and kind of seen like maybe how they compared the two?
Yeah, so I think I have built the Statue of Liberty, which is one of the architecture sets, and visited those. I think that's a much smaller representation. Probably the one I really want to go visit is the Notre Dame Cathedral, which I just
Oh
built
yeah,
earlier this
yeah,
month. But obviously, when it gets rebuilt, I wonder how the differences between those two things were after the
that's true.
fire from that end.
Yeah,
But I think the reason why architecture is not as popular is that it's very like not a lot of detail,
sure.
but detail in a different way from that piece. So we're basically drawing multiple avenues to see the arcs, the design. We look at a modular building, you look inside and you see like all the different like
Yeah,
the sofas, the bed, all the ones that look really cool. With
yep,
architecture, you don't have that.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
giant structure and
yeah,
you're marveled at the structure as opposed to the detail. I think that
sure.
people gravitate to the other way. So for me, I like seeing the amazingness of like the architecture of the Notre
Yeah,
Dame Cathedral, which was an amazing build, by the
it's
way. That was so,
yeah.
so awesome to build.
That's one that's still on my list. I I loved what it looked like, but it kind of shocked me when it did come out. I thought it was going to be a little bigger.
Yeah.
Like
It,
I thought well, the scale was just going to be a tad bigger, and then
yeah.
when it actually came out, I was like, oh, that's not as big as I thought. But that's okay because there's so much stuff that takes up so much room. Like
Yeah.
you just don't have places for them all.
I
Um,
don't,
yeah,
literally don't. I'm trying to find the spaces for them. So yeah, totally
yeah.
get that.
So yeah, now I don't believe this one was architecture. The Colosseum. I can't remember what line
Yes.
was
I
that
think it was
architecture.
icons,
That's it,
I think.
icons. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think of that one?
That that was awesome. I wish I have got that at the time. I do not have that one. I
Okay.
think it's one of the top five piece counts
It,
of all sets
yeah,
across the
it's
board.
huge.
And that one's got tons of detail across the board. I've been to the Coliseum, so I'd
Oh,
love to be able
nice.
to build it and see it in real life and compare the two from that end. But yeah, it's awesome I'm a fan of that. Wish I got it when it was hot
Yeah.
and not the
I was just thinking about that when you were talking. Like everybody has, a nice display, or not everybody, but a lot of people have the modular
yeah.
displays. I don't think I've ever seen somebody really put together an architecture display, like, and including those like the Eiffel Tower, the Colosseum. I think that would be really cool to see all the architectural builds
Yeah.
together in a display and see, like, actually get to compare them and see what they look like.
Yeah, I've been a big
I'll
fan of the
look for that.
Skyline series too.
Oh yeah,
So
those
like
are
the
nice.
little mini bills
Yep.
there. So try to collect as much as I can with those. But yeah, I actually have like a section in my office here of all the architecture sets
Oh,
to kind
so
of
there you go.
thing.
Okay.
So I've done that. I don't have the Eiffel Tower or anything big like
Yeah.
that because again, space is a big
Yeah.
concern for that. But
Yep.
I've tried to put as much as I can in there,
Sure.
and it seems to be pretty awesome.
People hang stuff from the ceiling, so I guess you could hang the Eiffel Tower.
The other thing you mentioned is it's funny that you mentioned that I'm a big fan of the art series as
Sure.
well. So like Lego art
Yep.
is something that I've really gravitated a lot towards. So I have
Okay.
the Milky Way, the Starry Night, and recently the Mona Lisa just came out, and I got
Yep.
that as well. And I find that was really appealing as well. It's interesting to build Lego in a three-dimensional world where most of the stuff you build is like in a building or a structure, but as
Yeah.
an art set, you're building it flat. So the
Yep.
different mindset as you're building things together, and yeah, it can be a little complicated. Like the Starry Night, have you ever done the bag five? It's all blue
Uh,
bricks, and you're like, where am I going
okay.
to start here?
Yeah.
I messed up one area, I screw
Yep.
up. But it's very interesting. I enjoy when there's different types of builds across the board.
Sure. Yep.
But yeah,
Um, okay. So now, going back to a couple things I'd
sure.
said I'd bring back later. Uh, Again, with your two kiddos, are they active in the Lego world? Are they interested in Lego?
Yeah, absolutely. I think any kid I've ever met has heard of Lego or done it
Yeah.
from that perspective. But yeah, my kids are big Lego people, obviously, with their dad
Yep.
doing this and doing the app and being interested in it. They gravitate toward my youngest loves to have minifigures. That's all he
Oh
plays
yeah.
with. He's like, what
Sure.
set can I get the most minifigures out? And like we're building stuff together, and he's just wants to
Yeah.
build minifigures from that
Yeah.
end.
Yep.
My oldest is likes the car sets, the F1 sets, like I
Oh,
mentioned.
yep.
Does not like Technic, which is totally understandable. Those are really hard pins to push in from that end, but yeah, big fan of those car series, which I think
Okay.
most kids are from that end.
Did they by any chance get the Lego City the soapbox car set?
No, I've seen that.
It's
That's
fun.
definitely the number we're looking at
Yeah.
for the future from that end.
I
They
I
just got
definitely.
the
Oh no, go ahead.
they just got the F1 like bay or the kind of
Yeah.
pit
Yeah.
stop thing where you're gonna close it up
Yep.
on you. My
Yep.
son loves that,
Okay.
races it around and then puts it together
Yeah.
from that end.
Well, if you have the opportunity, definitely look into the soapbox one.
Mm.
It's really cool. My son built it, and he likes racing the cars. Even though
Yes.
I wish the track was a little bit
Yeah,
longer,
yeah, yeah.
just for competition purposes. But the Lego store actually had, was it last weekend or 2 weekends ago? They had a free build
Yep.
where you could build the burger car.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was nice that they offered something that was related to something they released, because
Yeah.
usually I feel like it's just like a random
Yeah.
build that they
Or
have. But
Apple or something like that
yeah,
that
exactly.
or
Yeah.
yeah.
However, my son built that apple and he gave it to his second grade teacher this year,
Oh,
and she was
nice.
over the moon because she's a Lego fan as well. So,
That's awesome. Yep. I remember that. Yep. Yep.
all right. So let's get into the big daddy that we all been waiting for here, the app here.
Yeah.
So I think you touched base on it a little bit here a while ago,
Hmm.
but if we
Hmm.
had some new people that stopped in, do you just want to talk about how your Lego journey led you
Yeah.
to the creation of the app?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, I've done an app before called Untap, which is a beer-centric application. You kind of check in your beer, share with the friends. So very familiar with this social aspect of a niche-based area. So when I got my first Lego set as an adult, about a year and a half ago, the Disney house there, I built it and I wanted to share it immediately with the friends and family. And Instagram is a great way to do those things, or Facebook, or wherever you use. But I wanted to capture a little bit more than just the picture that I was having. And I wanted to keep track of what I had, my collection, what I thought about a build, the kind of steps that I had, or any interesting parts of that build process and capture my own memory and for us as well. So I kind of leaned on my experience from doing social apps before and brought it to this Lego environment, and kind of Brick was born from there.
Yep.
There are a lot of apps out there like Lego Builder app, and there's many sites out there like Brickset or Bricklink or Rebrickable that allow you to keep track of your
Sure.
stats. But one thing they're all missing that I felt that was different was the social aspect. And I think
Yeah.
the community part of Lego is so prominent. It's very
Sure.
prominent on Instagram, very prominent in a lot of areas. But there wasn't an app that connected all those people together, share what they're building in real time, and also what they have, and able to comment and toast and all those things from that perspective, from that level. And that's kind of where Brick was born. So we've been around. We launched about almost a year ago now,
Yep.
believe it or not,
Yep.
in early February from that end. So it's been getting up a little bit up to speed
Sure.
now. We're over 5,000 users on the app, which is fantastic from
Yep.
that perspective. So yeah, it's been a great journey to start from that end.
So, for those of us that are deficient in technical abilities, I
Mm.
can use a phone and a computer, but I would have no idea where to start with an app. Um, can you just kind of give everybody just kind of like a brief overview of like how the process starts in making an app, and like kind of what you have to go into and as far as developing it?
Yeah, so ultimately the app is a couple different things. The app is obviously code compiled on the phone to run, but it doesn't just run on the phone. There needs to be a back end portion that kind of serves the data from that side. And
Okay.
the good thing about Lego is that there's a centralized source of all Lego sets ever created that have a one common number, the set number, which is a
Yep.
unique number for every single set that happens. So it's great to be able to have one unique database that basically pulls all the information in there. So it does take some time to build your backend code that does all the logic for you. What happens when you add a set? What happens when you do this thing? Hooked it up to the front end side, which is the app that you're building as a whole. And then
Yep.
more importantly, build out the UI or the experience, how the user is going to interact with it. So you have to really do a bunch of crazy things to make it look really cool and
Sure.
function well. Otherwise, nobody will use it
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
support. Especially nowadays, apps are so prevalent. Everyone has an app for everything. You have
Yeah.
to have a way to stick out. So the user experience is like a big thing that I think drives a lot home with that.
Yeah. Now, so when would you say what year did the idea come up for the app? I know you said you started with back in the Lego like was 2022 then, I
Yep.
guess it would have been. So
Yeah.
at what point what year did you say the idea popped up and then how long did it take to get from the idea to February of 24?
Yeah, so I think it's actually 23, the end of 23, or even like in middle of 23, where I got this Lego set that I mentioned. And then
Yeah.
I started thinking about it immediately right after I bought that A-frame cabin that I mentioned
Yep. Okay.
before as my second set. I thought thinking about, this is a cool build technique. I want to be able to
Sure.
capture it. So I actually had an idea in January, that probably January 2024, and
Okay.
I actually had launching it about a month later. So I
Oh
was I
wow.
was I was pretty like engaged with this process in the very beginning, very passionate. I always feel like if you're passionate about something, like time doesn't really kind of blend together as much as
Yeah.
longer than you think. So
Yep.
it got a beta out in the early February period. I think we launched officially in the end of February from that end.
Okay.
So it didn't take very long. I think that the idea was I had that experience and I've done this before, so it was easy to kind of wrap my head around what was important from that
Sure.
end. But the app's improved a lot since that first release. We've added a lot more features from that side. So
Yep.
like it's a labor of love. It's never like finished per se. You just continue to add
Yeah.
on to it to make it the best experience
Yep.
possible.
Well, as they say, is anything really ever finished?
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Um, so can you just kind of give like, and I know you've posted it, but I always like to go into these with the mindset that nobody has ever seen anything about you
Yeah,
or anything that you do. So, do you just want to kind of give everybody, and again, I'll have this posted so people who weren't able to join us, they can come back and they can watch this.
yeah,
Because again, some people might be like me and rather just reading, they might like to watch what you have to
yeah.
say. So, can you just kind of give us an overview of what all is included in the app, and like what you can do once you're in that app for the first time?
Yeah, so Bricked is an all-encompassing social app for Lego enthusiasts, from a lack of better words. So you allow to keep track of your collection, what you want, what you have. You can add photos to the sets that you have and display them in there as well. But it's encompassed around a social media perspective. So you have an activity feed where you can follow your friends, your favorite people that you want to engage with. You can share your updates of what set you've added to your collection. I think one of the cool things that I love to share about what Brick does is it has something called build notes. So essentially, as you're building your app as a whole, you can capture the moments of bag four or bag seven through
Yep.
eight in a different way than you can't do any other surface from that
Sure.
end. You can also add video too to your post as well. So if there's a cool interaction like the Mario and Yoshi set where you can crank it and it kind of goes up and
Yep.
down from that level, you can capture that in a video and share it on the platform as well.
Okay.
We
Yep.
also have badges that you can earn. So
Oh,
basically
cool.
things that within the service. So if you basically have 10 sets from the Lego Icon series. You get a badge from that.
Okay.
We have badges for how many total piece count you built. The idea is to socialize and engage and build a community around Lego in a different way that's been done before and a more mobile focus
Sure.
first. And I think most of the sites out there, like Rebrickable and Brickset and everyone else, they're very much desktop related. They don't really work well on mobile
Yep.
devices. So we want it to be in the palm of your hand, ready to access all the sets there from that level. We have explore data. So if you're not really sure what sets are out there, you can browse and you can figure out what sets for themes. You can see what your friends are having or have or want. Yeah, it's pretty much all it
Yeah.
is from that perspective there,
Yep.
top to bottom.
Yep. So, I'm just pulling up a couple things here. I'm gonna, if I can, if I can remember my password, because that, that's always the hardest part is I'm on a different device because obviously I can't get on my phone while I'm talking to you
Right,
here.
right,
So I
right,
was
right.
trying to get on the iPad. So bear with me here because
Hmm.
I was gonna try to pull myself up here, and I think this goes under my my wife's passcode here. So I might just have to go off of my Instagram here. Bear with me here.
Yeah, I mean, essentially the idea that uh, we try to accomplish here is we want to connect folks together and build a community around Lego in a more social fashion. Again,
Okay.
Instagram does a great job of all this. We wouldn't have met if it wasn't for Instagram. We wouldn't have been able to have Secret Competition.
Yep.
But what we wanted to add is a layer on top of that. Yes, you posted a great picture of the Tudor corner,
Mhm.
but how was the build process? What was your
Sure.
rating? How did you like it? That's kind of where I think Brick comes into play here. It makes it more of a social experience, and I think that's really where Lego thrives when it comes to the community. That's
Sure.
really what we're
Yep.
all about from this perspective. And so
Yep.
we're happy to be
All
involved
right.
with
I'm gonna skip. I, these
it.
technologies. This what I'm just gonna stick over here. So, do you want to? As I mentioned, I don't usually prompt answering questions, but do you want to answer the question? It is a app related question. Um, and if you need her to expand, I'm sure that
Can
her
you
name's
can
Mackenzie.
tell you if you match sets with friends. Yeah, so essentially you can go to a set page on Brick as a whole. Say you're really interested in the Home Alone house and you want to see which of your friends have this house or have this set and what they built it. So you'll see a section in the app on the set detail page. It says all of your friends and
That's
where
really
if they
cool.
have it or not, or
Yeah.
if they want it. So even more better if you want to give your friend that gift for their birthday, you can see it in their wish list and you can actually kind of see from that end. But I love to see the media too, like especially with something like the Home Alone house, where people can deck it out for the holidays, add
Yep.
lighting to it. There's a tab in that page where you can actually see all the pictures
That's really
of
cool.
people set up. And then finally, one of the cool things is where you can buy it as well. So the buy it section right in the app as a whole. So if you want to see the price information for Lego.com, Amazon, or Walmart or Target, we show you all the price information there as well, including eBay and other options from there. So in case you're curious, if you're really after a retired modular like I am for the diner, I don't want to spend $1,000 on this set from that
Yep.
end. So you can find where third party providers are right in the app on the set detail page.
That
So
that's
it's a good way to look at it.
that's amazing. So now is that is pricing like is that all real time?
Yeah, we
So everything's real time?
Yeah, we try to make it as real time as possible. It's about 24 to 48-hour refresh rates on those
Okay.
things there. And we try to pull all data from the relevant sources to get the information. And we
Okay.
also have a premium subscription on Brick called Brick Builder, which is a great way for to get extra features in the app, more sets you can add. But one of the cool features is the pricing alerts. So say you really want to get a set and you want to know when it goes on sale at your favorite retailers, you can subscribe to that particular set and we'll send you a push notification when it drops to
Oh,
5% to 10%
nice.
or
Okay.
20% value.
Okay.
So you can go and purchase it from that end, from that side there too. So a
Okay.
great way to kind of figure out where things are priced. Because especially in
Sure.
the holiday season,
Yeah. Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of deals
Yeah.
happen
Yeah.
across the
Yep.
board. It's hard to keep track of
Yeah.
all those from that end.
So yeah, that's a big thing I want to mention here. So again, for recording later on. So can you just give everybody just a little bit of detail on? So obviously the app is free,
Yes.
but you do offer a subscription, which by no means is an extremely fair price for what you're offering. Can you just tell everybody what that subscription includes that would be different from the free
Yeah.
version?
Yeah, so it's called Brick Builder, which is a pro subscription. It's going about $2 a month or $14 a year, I believe it is from
Yep.
that
Yep.
end. And it's very, very inexpensive. The idea here is that I built this app for the community, and this money, all it does is help support the server costs, the
Sure.
infrastructure costs, and that perspective. So it's a really part of it. I'm super excited. People are joined up ever since we launched. A very humbling experience, but essentially you get to have unlimited number of sets so you can add to your collection. Right now, you're kind of capped at like 650 sets from that end.
Okay.
You have the option to add up to 10 photos to your particular sets, as opposed to five. You get higher video resolution. You get that pricing alerts that I
Yep.
mentioned. You get more enhanced filtering and sorting. So if you want to sort and filter your sets by what's retired, what was released in 2023, when you built it, all these things from there. And then also more on the discovery side. So say you have a friend that loves Technic sets that you want to get them a gift, but you're not sure what they have, you can match and see, okay, which Technic do they not have and what age bracket or price bracket you're looking for. And you'll be able to see it from that end. So there's a lot
Okay.
more extra features for the heavy users or the filtering ones, but it's just a great way to kind of help support the community, help support the app, keep it running and make it
What
all good.
I mean, I'm a person I like to support in all aspects, so I'm just going to say it. For what you're asking for a year subscription, I mean, don't go to lunch one day, and I I mean that it's incredible, and like how you tell me that it didn't take you that long to make this. I mean, all this stuff that you're saying sounds like it should take forever to put together, but you just have so many moving parts and so many offerings in this app that I can't imagine that it's not just going to blow away, fast because it's truly incredible what you've put together here. I mean, you literally have anything that you could think of that you could need as far as Lego collecting or just being a fan of Lego in general. I can't think of anything you missed. So, I mean, it's truly incredible, and kudos to you for doing it. I will continue to push this as much as I can in support of you because I appreciate that you took the time. Granted, it didn't take you long, but you took the time to put this together, and now you're continuing to make it better. And so with that also, how often will so like when the new releases come out? How often will that, or how quickly does that stuff get updated?
Yeah, so we use all the data from Rebrickable. That's our primary data source. So
Okay.
typically they get data as quickly as possible, but we've built in some backdoors here. So for example, when the Twilight idea set that came
Mhm.
out, I think it was this week, we could import it directly from Lego so fans can see it immediately.
Okay.
So there is a little bit of a delay from that level, but I haven't seen anything drastic where it's like weeks on weeks, so we don't get the data from that end.
Sure. Yep.
Most of the stuff is very publicly visible from that end, and it's pretty quick to be updated if when new sets come out. And luckily, most of them get announced well in advance of actually
Sure.
release dates, so you always have that in there for that release day, first of the month. It should be ready to go from that side. So it's been fun just learning more about all these sets across the board. Great comment by Torian Bricks about the Minifini scanner. It's like a lot of apps do that, so I don't know if I want
Yep.
to tread on that water,
Yep.
but I do think that we do have the option to actually track your minifigs in Brick as a whole. So we
Okay.
have set collections and we have minifig collections, so you can track them individually if you want from that end. So speaking of scanning, one thing I'm really excited about that we have in the app is actually using a little bit of AI, which I think
Okay.
everyone is really either on the fence on or like absolutely loving,
Sure.
thinking they're
Yeah.
really rid of it. So what we've
Yep.
done is we actually take a picture of a set, whether it's in a box or actually completed, and we send it over the wire and we ask the AI to identify what that set is, which is great for
Okay.
older sets that you
Sure.
may not even know the name of it or the number from that perspective. Or if you're too lazy like me, you don't want to type it out and search for it, take a picture of it and it automatically will come up and scan for it. So it's
That's
AI, so it's
incredible.
100% correct all the time, but it's definitely blows my mind sometimes too. And one thing we're actually working on is coming out in the next release. It's called the Auto Importer for
Okay.
Brick Builder members. So essentially, if you just join the service, you're probably inundated with how do I get all my sets on here? I'm not on Rebrickable or I'm not on Bricklink and I can't export my sets. We like to take a photo of your sets and we can identify each
Ooh.
set inside of it and add it
Ooh.
into it automatically for you as
Okay.
well. So that's coming out probably the next couple of weeks from that end for our
Ooh.
Brick Builder members from
Man,
that
I
end.
am glad I didn't start I have a reason why I didn't start adding. I was going to share that with you tonight, but now I definitely am not because that's that I don't have it. And it was just kind of divine how things worked out because I scanned the manuals
Yeah.
to get the Lego points, but I've never put a collection
Yeah.
on any of the websites.
Yeah.
And recently in some of my lives, we've been chatting about like, oh, do you keep track of your collection? I said no, but I should. And then out of nowhere, you just pop up, and I'm just like, this was a reason why I didn't, because
Yeah.
this literally, I mean, like I said already, it has everything. And to Josh's point with the minifig scan, that's very kind of you to not even want to look into that because then everything else would just shut down.
Yeah.
Because then you would have everything. But so with that AI thing, so again, when that feature comes out, so I literally can buy a set. I can bring it home. I can scan it with the phone, and then it'll just import everything
Yeah.
right to the
So
closet.
essentially, there's a couple ways that we have scanning in the app. Number one, you can take a picture of a box and it will identify it as a set, so you don't have to type it in; it will
Okay.
just find it for you. You can also scan the QR code on the manuals, like you mentioned about
Oh yeah.
the points. You can scan that, and it will identify the set. This
Okay.
new feature is like, say you have a display like behind you, the Titanic and other buildings from that end. You can take a
Sure.
picture of your entire landscape there. You can say, AI, tell me what I have in this picture, and it will come back with all the sets for you. And you just say, okay, I want to add
Wow.
this one, some check, and
Wow.
it's already added
Holy
in. So
cow.
that's something we're really excited about launching out there for our Brick Builder subscribers, because I think that's a really easy way to get on the app for folks like you mentioned that don't have
Yep.
another way for it. Now I've heard some people as well ask about, hey, can I import from Lego Builder app, which is a very common way of doing it.
Sure.
They don't have an export function on it, which is hard. We've been trying to figure out ways to, and take a screenshot of your page on the internet, and we'll try to figure out AI to be able to do it, but I haven't
Yeah.
been successful as that. So we hope this auto importer from the picture will be great for folks that have
Yeah. Yeah.
that display.
Yeah. I if it was up to me in that aspect, like me personally, I would not go from Brick Builder because like there's been people who have given me manuals just to scan them, so they're not in my collection. So it's like I wouldn't want all that stuff coming over because I'm like, ah, geez, now I got to go through it and I got to delete everything that's not
Exactly,
mine.
exactly,
And then you
exactly.
forget, like sometimes you forget like what you have, and then
Hmm.
I think it could make things a little more challenging. But no, I think. I really like that. I'm glad you shared that tonight because that's something really exciting to look forward to. So
Yep.
uh, again, I have not done anything on my account as far as adding things because I had this idea. I have some friends. A couple of them are on here right
Mm.
now. They kind of pressured me in to start collecting brickheads,
Ah, yeah.
and so.
Never ending battle.
So I when I learned about the app, I said, "Oh, this will be really cool." Where I don't want to add anything. I'm going to start a new series with brickheads, and I'm going to add like a brickhead a day, and then I can add it to my app,
Hmm.
and so
Yeah.
I can kind of integrate showing off the app how to use it by adding the brickheads a day, and then I
Nice.
can build them and whatnot. So I think that's going to be a really fun way. Yeah, not pressure. Yeah. It's going to be a really fun way to kind of show people how to use the app and everything with it. And then also getting to show, how you can, add things and whatnot. I think it'll be fun. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
um, but now as far as like how often do you typically plan on doing updates? Is it just kind of as ideas come up in your mind, or do you have like a set schedule that you are going to try to follow?
Yeah, no set schedule. I like to kind of noodle on these. I also take a lot of feedback from
Yeah,
users. I love to hear feedback on what users like to see in the app. I really believe that while I am the maker behind it, I'm building it for the community. So like,
sure.
I want to listen. I want to hear what we can improve. Like one person sent an email this morning and said, "Hey, I love mocks, but it's hard to see them in the search panel because they're mixed in with the results of the official sets."
Okay.
And I said, "Great suggestion. I'm gonna split those out. So now we're gonna have three panes to search for, one
Okay.
for sets, one for maybe for mocks. Like these are great suggestions to have."
Yeah.
So
Yep.
when things come about, that's where I love to be able to kind of use that information to make it better for users.
Yep.
Like I always believe that, like, if you email Facebook and or Instagram, say, hey, can you add this feature? They're like, yeah, who are you? And I
Yeah.
never want to be that person from that piece and be able to kind of bring everybody together. So yeah, no
Sure.
release schedule. Kind of when things
Okay.
happen, I like to release them out there. But yeah, we just released a pretty big update recently, which includes leaderboards and stuff like that you
Yep.
can see
Okay.
now in the app, and like streaks and stuff like that to
Okay.
create more stickiness and the ability to kind of see how your building patterns are across the
Sure.
board. But yeah, when things kind of come across, I'm always for them. So if
Yeah.
anyone has any feedback, questions, or feature requests, I can't do
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
but I can try. And yeah, so I'm always open for those things.
Oh, that's. I was gonna say I don't even think I've tried to get in touch with Instagram in the past because of issues, and I don't even think you really can. So
Nice.
again, that's great for you to be able to to respond to everybody so easily, and that you're welcoming to suggestions and feedback. So yeah, before we wrap up, any thoughts about taking this on the road to any conventions, Lego conventions, kind of advertise or
Yeah.
whatnot?
That is something that I'm thinking about a lot. Again, one of the things that I've learned a lot about this community is I'm new to
Yeah,
it. So, from me, I've not been around for a long time, trying to figure out where is the best way for me to get
sure.
involved. I've been reaching out to a lot of different conventions and seeing what they're available. The tricky thing is I don't sell anything. Like I'm
Yeah,
not like selling
yeah.
minifigs or whatever.
Yep.
So the
Yep.
type of sponsorship is little bit different according to what they're looking
Okay.
for. So trying to figure out what makes the most amount of sense. But I'd love to take it on the road. I think one of the greatest parts about this app is the community and
Sure.
the relationships that we build. So I want to meet people that use the app. I want to meet fans that like to use it and see where I can get better at it. So yeah, definitely considering that for this year and
Okay.
seeing that would unfold for that.
Yep. Well, I will toss it out there for you. I have plans. I am attending Brick World this year. So if you're not going to Brick World, if you have any sort of material like a QR code or
Yeah.
something like that that I could take with me, I definitely would love to share the app. I'm sure by then there probably won't be many people that don't know about the app. But
Very
but
kind of
I
you.
would love to have something to take with me to try to spread that word
Yeah.
even farther. So.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm thinking about. It's the biggest one, the one in
Yep.
Chicago, right?
Yep.
The brick world there. So thinking about that this year and seeing what could be done. Ultimately too, I'm just a civil engineer. I'm doing something on the side. This is
Sure.
not my full-time job there. So just trying to figure out exactly how we can make that
Yeah.
work financially from that perspective is a big thing, right?
Yep.
I think a lot of the time it's very hard to get folks to download your app. So meeting folks like yourself and getting the word out there is a challenge in itself. So I'm very appreciative of all the support you've given me and anyone else
Yeah.
watching
Yeah.
as well that shared their profile on Instagram. It just means a lot for me
Yeah.
personally.
Well, hey, I'm here for you, and we that's what we've been doing. I'm new to community as well. I just started back in October,
Oh,
and
nice.
that was one of my goals was to. I'm tired of all these. We're not in high school anymore, so
No.
let's all act like adults and
Yeah.
let's just be supportive. Let's. Who cares if you build friends or you build modulars? Like, who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah.
Let's just have fun. It's a common hobby. And so let's just, that's what we're trying to do is we're trying to build a better community, which it is a great community.
Mm.
But regardless, as I said, there's always going to be something. So uh, that's what we need to get to. And I think your app actually will help with that too, with
Yep.
the community, getting people closer and getting to see what others are doing. And it's great. So, yeah, I hope if you do choose to come to Brick World, I hope to actually get to meet
Yeah.
you. I know there is that brick fair in Virginia as
Yep.
well. I don't know if that would be closer for you or not, but I know that's probably one of the other big ones, at least on the East Coast. So
Yep.
I don't think I'm gonna get to make it to that one, but maybe you will.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people in here. I think the word is spreading fast. I've seen a lot of people sharing the profile pages and whatnot. So I appreciate you. I'll just tell you I appreciate everything that you've done for this. This is a great opportunity for everybody to keep all their stuff just centralized.
Yeah.
And I will continue sharing, and I'll make sure others do as well because this is great. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, no,
So,
I appreciate the time as always. It's been great to meet you virtually
yes,
on this
yep.
chat here, and I appreciate the airtime, for lack of a better word. It's been
Well,
great to meet you and talk with your community from that end.
yeah, for sure. Well, I like I said, I will when this is done here, I'll share the collab post so we can share it between both pages,
Nice.
and then people can come back if they missed anything or just watch it for the first time. But yeah, I appreciate you taking the time tonight. And my last thing for you here, I like to ask everybody.
Sure.
Um, Later this year, if you're interested, I'd love to have you back. I'd love to kind of check
Sure.
in, see how the app's going, see if you've been anywhere, if I haven't seen you at Brick World.
Yep.
And just because then we can chat there as well. But
Yeah.
if I don't get to see you or whatnot, then I'd love to have you back. So
Would love to do it. I really appreciate that.
perfect. Well, hey, if I hear any feedback for anything, I'll be sure to share it. And
Yeah.
again, if you do have any materials like QR codes or that I can print out and take with
Yep.
me places, I'm actually oddly enough, I forgot about this. In Pittsburgh this coming weekend, we have a big celebration with our lug where we celebrate International Lego Day.
Oh, nice. Yes. Yes.
So the whole weekend we're going to be set up. So I can actually I can print stuff out to bring with me, so I can share
Nice.
the app out at the mall too, because it's a
Nice.
massive event. So I'd love to
Nice.
share that. So
Yeah, I
yep,
definitely have some stuff in paraphernalia that I can send your way from
yeah,
that end.
perfect.
So
Okay, cool. All right, I'll touch base with you when we're done here, and then lastly, just want to thank everybody for being here. Make sure you follow So the Instagram name, it is Get Bricked App. So GetBrickdapp. But
Hmm.
the actual app on the App Store, it's just BRICKD.
That's great.
So please make sure you follow Greg and the Get Bricked app, and then there's a free version of the Bricked app, either on the App Store or, excuse my ignorance, what is it
Google
on
Play.
Google Play? Thank you.
Yep.
So there is a free version, and then there is also a subscription based, which, like I said, skip a lunch one day, and you can pay for the app for the years. But anyways, thanks everybody again for stopping, Greg. Seriously, I appreciate your time and everything that you're doing, and I'll look forward to chatting again soon.
Sounds good.
All right,
Thanks so much. Have a good one.
thanks everybody. All right, we'll see you guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.